What is going on, guys? Peace and blessings, everybody.
But let's be honest, this is just another day in America, isn't it? Another day, another massacre. So what now? Do we have the same tedious debates we've had countless other times after countless other incidents?
Yet you make one of these videos. The irony.
And here's the sad truth that no liberal wants to own up to. Donald Trump is absolutely right on this point. If America instituted a Muslim travel ban and we tightened up our borders, we probably would reduce the odds of things like this happening. I don't even know what counter-argument could possibly exist for that position.
Here's the sad truth conservatives won't own up to. Most terrorist attacks on U.S. civilians are done by right-wingers. He does make a point. Hate crimes will decrease because most hate crimes in America happen to Jews and Muslims.
Choice, America. You can have a modicum of greater security. All you have to do is destroy everything that this country is supposed to stand for, right? Small price to pay for you fucking retards, I'm sure. Freedom? Oh, hell, I wasn't using that anyway. I just want a wife and kids and a truck and a job. I don't have no need for no fancy schmancy freedoms. I'm going to tell you in no uncertain terms, and I don't care how bad it pisses you off, that I would rather live in a country with terrorist attacks every week than live under a fascist dictatorship. And make no mistake, that's exactly what is being discussed here. If there's no freedom of religion, then there's no freedom of thought. If there's no freedom of thought, then there is no freedom worth speaking of. So what's my solution then? Well, I'll break it down to you. 1. Stop protecting Islam from criticism. Demand that sites like Facebook allow criticism of the Islamic faith. Stop acting like it's racist to attack Islamic doctrines.
Well, that's funny because Islam is the truth and it's always under attack. You're on Facebook. Facebook doesn't censor you from attacking Islam. You're also on YouTube criticizing Islam all the time.
People in America like guns, and not too many people like fucking Muslims. Let's face it, most Americans don't even know a fucking Muslim. The most interaction they have with Muslims is when their Uber driver or gas station clerk is named Yusuf or Muhammad. And it's always been really fucking easy to say to a society, look, all we have to do to solve this problem is take away the rights of this one group of people that no one gives a shit about. That'll make this all okay.
It is true Islam is not a race, but humans are flawed and they turned it into a race thing. Look at what happened in 9/11 when those terrorists killed innocent people. Guess who got attacked based on their appearance? Sikhs, because they thought Muslims look a certain way. And they had a certain skin color. So, yep, that is a racist element.
2. Stop acting like countries like Saudi Arabia are our allies. How can we possibly fight Islam when our country is friends with a country run by an Islamic theocracy, with religious police roaming the streets and public executions in the town square? The only thing we have in common with Saudi Arabia is that they have oil and we want oil. It's time to get out of that bed. There's never going to be a will in our government to deal with Islam when our country is in bed with fucking Islam.
It's called the petrodollar. You should learn geopolitics. We have a fiat currency. And the U.S. has a lot of oil. You should go look it up. There's an agenda behind it.
Let's not get bogged down here in an argument about whether it's Islam or whether it's guns. 3. Start requiring licenses for all guns. And any unlicensed guns that we recover should be immediately destroyed right after confiscation. It should take someone weeks to get a gun. And they should have to attend safety classes and undergo psychiatric evaluations. We need to not only make it harder to get guns, we need to start getting rid of the guns that are already out there. 4. As much as I hate to trample civil liberties, I think we have to have a law enforcement make its presence known at mosques that preach intolerance and extremism. If your mosque is just preaching charity and brotherhood, whatever, we don't give a shit. But if it's preaching killing gays and taking a soft stance on ISIS, we should let these fuckers know they're being watched. Not just the mosques themselves, but the congregations. In the case of really extreme mosques, we need to infiltrate them. Get men on the inside, people who can walk the walk and talk the talk, people who can report back on what's being said behind closed doors in these communities. I'm not comfortable with this, but I think it's a measure that should be taken.
They already did that in New York, and guess what was the result? There's innocent people in those mosques who don't preach terrorism, and guess what? there are no mosques in the United States that support terrorism. It's already been proven. That's why after the attack, there was no mosque or imam in America that supported this attack.
But here's the price that we pay for that marginal increase in our sense of security. America becomes a police state. Trump has already sided with the NSA data collectors over the American people and our rights and our freedoms. And so has Hillary Clinton, for that matter. Speaking of freedom, freedom of religion would be totally dead. There is no freedom of religion in a country that prohibits a certain faith from entering the country. And guess what? You scared little idiots who just want Daddy Trump to protect you. The walls that you build to keep out the wetbacks and the sand niggers are now the walls of a prison that you have built for yourself. We have to be very careful to protect and preserve liberty, because the second you take a liberty away from one group, you've really created the precedent that allows it to be taken away from everyone. And 5, become energy independent from the Middle East and get out of there right now. We're fighting in the Middle East. We're fighting the native populations. We're fighting Russia. We're fighting China. I say, let Russians and Chinese people squabble over that horse shit.
Again, learn geopolitics. It's a fiat currency backed up by petro, aka the petrodollar. That's why there's always going to be geopolitical tensions.
Islam isn't a factor in these attacks.
Peace.